I was going to ask you, this was made for you.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you're Superman, super dad.
Right, exactly.
But if you were to actually have a Billy Harner day-by-day working bobblehead of yourself, you've got Syndergaard, pitchers who rake,
Mm-hmm.
that encapsulates him. Here's Ike Davis upside down. We've got the Coney Island one right here. What is the Billy Harner dream bobblehead that one day we'll create here? What are you doing in it?
The dream bobblehead of me. I don't know. There's a bunch of things that sort of, I think, sum up my day-to-day activity. I always have the Costanza approach, where if you look angry, nobody bothers you and lets you go on with your day. So I wouldn't be smiling. I wouldn't be a Brandon Nimmo smile for sure. I don't know. I mean, I answer this back door a lot. There's a lot of people that come here and knock in for deliveries and things like that. Probably just me at a desk with my Nalgene bottle and sneakers and just sort of hanging out, getting through the day and trying to get another game in without losing my mind.
There you go. I mean, this is what goes through your mind all day. So, have you gotten to the precipice of like crazy bobblehead? Have you gotten there yet? I mean, your ideas have come to life. This is where it all started with this St. Joe's one. But have you had that bobblehead where you're like, this is the most insane thing I've ever made?
A couple years ago, when we had the Tears to Cheers Wilmer Flores bobblehead, that was pretty ridiculous, I thought, from the idea of it to the execution of it. And we put it out, and the moment where I was like, well, this is sort of the coolest thing that's ever happened is the Mets were playing the Dodgers, and Vince Scully was on the game, and Vince Scully does more research than anybody in the history of the universe in terms of broadcasters, as I'm sure you well know. He was talking on air about this bobblehead, and as a Mets fan, I'm watching the game, and it was a rarity for me to be able to watch Vince Scully call a game, just because we're on the East Coast. I'm a Mets fan. I don't really get to see them a lot, but through the MLB package, I was watching the Dodgers broadcast of the Mets-Dodgers game, and him talking about it was like, well, this is outrageous. This is Vince Scully, who's the greatest broadcaster of all time, and ties into my grandparents watching games and my dad watching games here with the Dodgers, and now he's sitting here talking about this monstrosity, terrifying, two-faced thing that we came up with, and
it's amazing.
That was probably one of the coolest moments for me, for sure, was having somebody like Vince Scully talk about something that we came up with here.
Now, Wilmer, of course, this was a very emotional day for Wilmer, as
Right.
the bobblehead entails. You have to get approval from these players when you want to make things like this happen.
Right.
You can't just go out on a limb and do anybody. So Wilmer, you had to have conversations with Wilmer Flores.
Yeah, we have, from the beginning process, we used to have Kevin Jimenez, who works here. He used to sketch out all of them by hand, like draw them out and say, this is what it would look like on one side, this is what it would look like on the other. And we would usually send that to the player or the person that we're working with or whatever we're doing, for them to sort of see what we're pitching to them, so they would know what it's going to be. And that was always sort of step one. When we sent this Wilmer one, it was a little apprehensive, I would say, because it's so different. I mean, it's two faces. It's not really a normal thing. And we also didn't want it to make it seem like we were making fun of him, or
Sure.
that he was blubbering, or that kind of stuff. So we were trying to be respectful to him, but it's such like an iconic moment in the Mets franchise, particularly for that year, to how it turned around and they ended up going to the World Series. So obviously it's something that he's known for and something that is going to go down in Mets lore. So he embraced it, and we sort of walked him through it, and he saw you go from the sketch to you get a clay mold, which is very difficult for most people to really see what the final product's going to be, because a clay mold is exactly what it sounds like. It's the mold that is underneath all of the paint and the stickers and everything, so you don't really it's really hard to envision what the final product is going to look like. So you get a mold and you say, all right, we'll make the face rounder, or make him more smiley, fix his teeth, his nose doesn't look like that, his whatever. So you get that sent and you sign off on that, and then the next thing they'll give you is a painted sample, and that's where you really can sort of see what the final product might look like. and you have to get very detailed and look into it and zoom in on stuff, because you're getting photos from halfway around the world that are not the highest of quality of photos, and it's not in a professional lighting setting, so you're trying to be some nitpicky with stuff and make sure the guy's eye color is right, and make sure that his glove's on his right hand, or make sure that the coloring is right for the Cyclones logo or the Mets logo or whatever it might be. So then once you get to that point and you sign off on it, then they start producing it, and you'll maybe get a sample sent to you where you can see what it looks like. And once it's in sample stages, you don't really have a ton of flexibility, but you can still make a little tweaks here and there. But it's the process usually takes about 120 days from start to finish, to make sure that you have enough time to do everything correctly and make sure it's done right. So there's some times where you wish, like, I would love to do a Pete Alonso home run derby champion thing, but that happens in July, or last game's in September. You have no shot to turn around 2,000 bobbleheads in 6 weeks or something like that. So it's a lot more time consuming than you'd think. There's a lot more involved than for painting dolls, but it's a fun process to be involved in, and it's the people that are actually making them, painting them, and crafting them, they're much more talented than you would think. People come from all over the world to come be here for the Seinfeld night, and first guy in line flew in from Winnipeg and slept in his car because he wanted to be here, and it was all because of the bobblehead. So